Welcome to How Hard Can It Be, the podcast where we explore AI one question at a time.
Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of How Hard Can It Be? Today's guest is Ken Huang, a leading voice in GenAI governance, cybersecurity, and risk. Ken is a CSA Fellow, a NIST GenAI contributor, co-author of the OWASP Top 10 for LLMs, and a global instructor on GenAI security. He's also helping define best practices for Agentic AI Red Teaming, which we'll be diving into in today's episode. So first of all, a big welcome, Ken. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Alex. Honored to be here.
Much appreciated. Let's dive right into it. So you've been at the forefront of cybersecurity and now generative AI. What drew you into this space, and how has your perspective changed or evolved as the technology is slowly maturing?
Yeah, so that's like a big question. I try to cut it short. So I started as AI research a long time ago when expert system, rule-based expert system was hot in 1992, 1996 area. So my first paper was published by a conference called World Computer Education's Conference, and also published by Springer. I actually have a paper called the Intelligent Tutoring System. You have a student model. I argue that you have a shallow model and also deeper model. A shallow model is more for the learning by doing, like you do exercise, and then you internalize, you becomes a deeper model. So if an educational system need do the work, it has to capture both the shallow and the deep model. So that paper published a long time ago. I sometime I need to revise it. But anyway, so this is using Lisp Prolog at the very beginning. It did not work, so I use Smalltalk, which is object-oriented programming, and it worked. I cannot find a job with Lisp Prolog, but Smalltalk at that time was popular. QOO. So I found a job with then AI winter come, right? So there's no AI job at that time. But then move really close now to the some of the work I did for next generation system, for collection system, like it's just part of risk management system for Capital One. That is through the CGI, American Management System, which was acquired by CGI. And one of my tester, I was chief architect for the job. One of the tester was has found that there is. Yeah, she's really good. She finds there's SQL injection. She try all this, right? So that got me excited with SQL injection. Then eventually I was full-time on the security, got my CISSP on 2007. And then AI taking off when the transform architecture was really good by Google, and also the GPT-1.2, and eventually the 3.5. But I wrote the book, which was the first. I have like 6 books published by Springer. The 5th is just published now, the Agentic AI. The 6th will be the security, but the first book is Beyond AI. It's more looking at this transformer and look at the Web3. Yeah, so how my perspective changed, I think it's certainly we're in very good area. We kind of go through the mainframe area to PC, to web, to mobile, to cloud mobile, right? Now it's AI, the reasoning platform. Or if you want to say it's token generation platform, whatever word it is, or AI factory, maybe what Jason Wang said. But we are in the new area. The value creation will far exceed all previous renovation or innovation. We're in the early stage. Security will still be playing a role. And people may losing all other jobs, but the security will not. So security is safe job, right, for this area.
Right. Yeah. Now, which is a great segue. So, like often security and safety, is chasing the rapid technological development, right? There's not a day that passes by where you don't read new articles about new capabilities, new ways of enterprises using Gen AI and now increasingly agentic AI. So as everybody's racing, towards securing these solutions and these systems, are there any risks that you think are overlooked? Because there's obviously a difference, based on who you ask, what does a secure AI environment look like? So could you elaborate or think of any risks that you think, are under-indexed that have been not, taken into consideration enough?
Yeah, so I think especially when it was a 2023, the main focus was the AI safety. It's more like the doomsday theory. AI will kill us. The focus is really not on the security side. When I started to write a book, which eventually published in 2024, last year, and we actually collaborate with the CSA to give us some book to some of attendees in ISA conference. Uh, uh, so I have choice. Should I write a book for generative AI safety or security? So eventually I decide security, because enterprise, when they use it, they more focus on security. So it's CIA, right, aspect of the issue. Not really, it will kill me. Of course, the frontier model builder, you do need understand the risk of the doomsdays. Potentially, there's non-zero probability that it could kill us. So that's still need have someone focus on yet, right? Especially the frontier model builder. So all the CBRN, chemical, biological, radioactive, nuclear kind of risk, they should be careful. But if you are just travel agency company booking the ticket, for you, it's more like a CIA aspect, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So that's the gist of how my book is trying to say, okay, this is important. And so I think the industry is currently moving towards this. Prompt injection certainly is the top one. I think now people realize it's right. So maybe if we really want to say people start waking up and not really into it, is really the agentic AI. It's still early, right? And the whole thing about the increased attack surface, that maybe we can touch upon later, right? Also the supply chain side of it, because your generative AI system touch many kind of models, data, pipelines, framework, such many things. So this certainly need to be careful. You don't want to just have shadow AI, right, to be deployed. The eventually kind of touch all the data. If you look at the identity access management, it was not really good until now. Now it's a way make it worse, right? Because
Right.
if your agent can touch all this, yeah. So I think if something need people focus on, certainly prompt injection, supply chain attack, the identity piece.
Right. No, that's perfect. And again, perfect segue to agentic AI. Um, the way we look at it from our perspective, we kind of look at AI events. And if I look at a customer support chatbot, right, it's relatively straightforward. To your point, there's a user to the model interaction and model to user. So you send a prompt and you get a response, which is relatively straightforward. Now, if we switch to agentic AI, right, the amount of different events and the complexity is increasing significantly, right? Because now between the user or application input and the final output, there's a lot of different events happening in between, right? Agents talking to agents, to
Yes.
large language models, MCP, and so on and so forth. So, can you, start or give us a high level perspective of how complex you think the attack surface of agentic AI is, and to which degree are we actually ready, or are enterprises ready to aggressively start deploying, increasingly complex agentic workflows?
Yeah. That's a really good question. So if, like you said, in terms of frontier model, lots of model builders, they already have very good established red teaming exercise, right? Really, the agentic AI real genesis is 2025. We do have see some enterprise deploy the internal applications. There is also some consumer base like BLOS use, like operator or computer use agent. The most widely used for vibe coding is the code agent, right? And if there's no standard definition of agent, what's agentic AI yet, but at least the industry kind of have a consensus in terms of what it composed of, in terms of its characteristics. You have to have a certain level of autonomy, right? You do have to leverage the model, mostly the large language model or some multiple model, right? And you do have to have the memory, either short-term or persistent memory, and you do have reasoning and orchestration capability. So that's usually the basic characteristics it has. But this increases the attack surface, right? How we can actually, if we build a agentic AI system, how can we threat model it? If you're using a traditional threat modeling technique like Strata, Pasta, Dread, you can still find some of vulnerabilities, but it's not enough, right? It's all this is pre-agentic AI, so it cannot really suggest like adjust anything with agent to make autonomous decisions because of what the models say it, right? And it does not really address the dynamic identity that the agent need. You may provision the agent identity too much power that's in violation of least privilege, right? Or you may be not give it enough power so it cannot actually do any work.
Right.
So this is really dynamic identity that we just published a paper in called the novel zero trust, the new identity approach. We compare our approach with SIMO, the OWASP, the Kerberos, the HID. That could be interesting. I will receive lots of positive feedbacks. But yeah, this is also in terms of the the orchestration. Agent can basically orchestrate. If you the problem is especially in the multiple agent, multiple model environment. If you one agent may understand semantically different with another agent, so the orchestration logic will become more complex. It could you have to like threat model it to see what kind of a potential threat it could be, right? In terms of observability as well, in terms of the complex of logic, and in terms of the potential blast radius, like if one agent is a rack agent, can impact the whole thing, right? So all this certainly increases the attack. So the Maestro framework that I published through Cloud Security Alliance, many people actually use it. People doing the mapping with other framework. So if people are interested, take a look at the Maestro framework and use it when you're trying to build your agentic AI system. It's free anyway. Go to Cloud Security Alliance. And we also actually partner with OWASP. Like OWASP, also the GenAI project has the multiple agent system, like threat modeling, use this to model the MCP as an example, and also other things. So that could be used as an example for their system.
No, it makes sense. We heavily rely on OWASP and on Maestro, so that's a good point. Is it fair to say, Ken, that securing agentic, environments or agentic workflows is not necessarily, a completely new stack, but it's a layered approach where we apply security functions we already had historically. Some might need some adaptation like identity because we have to support non-human identities now. But there is a new layer on top that enterprises, for example, have to adopt that they simply don't have today as a capability, right? So for example, we do detection response for these use cases, and it's all based on natural language, right?
Mhm.
Versus detection response in network security or log-based environments. So should enterprises think about, okay, this is my existing security stack, what needs adjustment or adaptation, I should rather say, sorry. And what are net new incremental capabilities I need? Is that a way to segment the problem?
Absolutely, yeah. I think this is the right way to say it. It's actually in generative AI security book, Spring book. I think we're thinking the same approach. Like you cannot get rid of the traditional or legacy cybersecurity program or system or tools, but you need a small like adjust that, right? And certainly there's a layer which is agentic layer through threat modeling. There is a security control that you need to apply. So that's certainly, yeah,
Perfect.
the approach.
Now, the CSA is releasing a paper on Agentic AI Red Teaming. Can you give us a little bit of a sneak peek of what we can expect from that paper?
Yeah, so that paper was published there. Eventually, was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I got a lot of good feedback. Like I posted LinkedIn about this paper, and that's maybe most engaged LinkedIn post for me. Right, I have like over 50,000 impressions, more than 740 likes. I never had this before. So the best way when I get maybe is 250 before that. So people interested, and some also people reference to it. But I think the whole thing is we have cross-industry effort to first come up with some threat categories. And the main thing is how we test it, right? So we have the actionable step, example, prompts, and also some scenarios. Um, it's all documented. And we also partner with OWASP AI Exchange, and they certainly provide lots of good input and feedback. Uh, and where after that, we also have some meetings to see if we can leverage some tools for as a companion to this. So SPLX, they participate in our meeting to demo their tool. That is good. We also have our CSA member to research PYRIT from Microsoft to see if we can leverage that tool. We have next meeting. Actually, she's a PhD student for cybersecurity at one of the university. So she will present a second kind of take on that one. And I also vibe coded. I'm still working on it, a automation tool for that. So hopefully it will be useful for the community. And this our current CSA scope is to make sure it will be like as many people can just leverage it. It's open source, right? And if we can build a tool for that, that's even better. And August, I think we have the Agentic AI Security Summit at the Cloud Security Alliance. So Rob, who is from OWASP AI Exchange, he and me, we may have a fireside chat or presentation to talk about that more. So,
Excellent. I don't want to miss that. Thank you. If you would advise a security leader who is, standing up a Gen AI governance framework for the first time, meaning from scratch, where would you suggest they start? Or is there a best, point to start that exercise?
Yeah, I think the main thing is like enterprise usually have security program, right? The majority of security program, which maybe have the policy procedures, also the right? All this should remain the same, but you do need to adapt this to the agentic AI. Some of like shadow AI, I think now certainly exists in different. Shadow AI always exists. Shadow AI extrapolate the security issues, right? So look at your security program to see what need to be adjusted. Let's start with AI usage policy, right? And then maybe have the agentic AI application or SDLC program established. It will be different because the traditional SDLC start not with data itself, right? It will start maybe as with use case, and then you have program or this, right? I think we need to look at the use case and also data. What kind of data, right? What kind of model, and what is the pipelines? If you're using a RAG, retrieval augmented generation vector database, looking into this, and also looking into the framework. If you build your own agentic AI framework, you need to test it. Most people may use the third-party open source like Clue AI, AutoGen, LangGraph, many. There's like at least 100 open source framework from Hugging Face, OpenAI, Microsoft, AWS, Google. Everyone publishes their own framework. None of this framework is for security. All this framework is for orchestration, right? That's good, but you need to plug in the security. So I have actually a GitHub. That GitHub was referenced by a Microsoft research paper, actually. It's that GitHub say, okay, you have Crew AI, you have AutoGen. How can you plug in the security, like access control policy into it? So if people are interested, maybe I can give you the link. You can put in the show notes for that. Yeah. So
No, that sounds great. Leading up to my final question, when the internet came about, it took us how long? 10, 12 years to make cybersecurity a mandatory practice, and to hold, enterprises accountable for their security posture. I always like to use this example. And social media, right, came about, and it took us, what, again, 10, 12 years to truly understand what are the benefits, what are the risks, what are, potential regulations or limitations we should apply to it. I think we all agree we don't have 10 years when it comes to AI, but it's really challenging with AI, right? Because it is evolving so fast. If you just look at what happened the last 12 months, there's a fundamental change, even in how we think about securing these environments. So let me ask my final questions. How hard can it be to secure complex AI environments, multi-stage or hierarchical agentic workflows? Are we going to permanently or forever chase behind it? Or do you see there is a point where we have a chance, at least, right, to reach maturity for a AI security stack that, is efficient in reducing or mitigating risk?
yeah, I may give you a typical answer for that. I don't know what is a typical answer, but from my perspective, if we, like in the long term strategic perspective, I'm optimist. We certainly can catch up with like innovation of the AI. We also innovate on the especially agentic AI security. That's why we have the OWASP project trying to working on this. Also have a scoring system. We launched just a week, 2 weeks ago, called AI Vulnerability Scoring System. The initial focus is the agentic AI top threat, top risk. How can we measure it, right? And we have NIST, CSA, we have DAPA also give us open remarks, and Anthropic CISO also caution us that we need to keep agile so we can keep up. So the long term, I think it's not hard. We need to be optimistic. Of course, there's a lot of work. So in the short term, tactical level, that's really hard. We certainly need to make sure we catch up, and especially when we build our agentic AI applications, make sure you heavily select, model it, document what the gap is, right? And then you implement it, then you red teaming it. We have red teaming guide, but you have to red teaming often, actually, earlier and often, not, okay, system ready, let's do red teaming. I think that's maybe too late. So yeah, so this is, I think, starting from you have a good security program, good Agentic AI, SDLC, and then you do the threat modeling, right? You make sure tracking this. People sometimes do threat modeling and forget it about that, right? There should be a tracking
Right. It
system.
can't be a tick in the box exercise, right?
Yeah,
It has to be a living document
right.
practice. Got it. So to close up the call, Ken, a couple more words, if you don't mind, about your new book, LLM Design Patterns. What is it about? Who is it for? Who should read it?
Okay, so LLM design pattern, when Pact reached out to me to write this book, I was thinking almost the same thing. So sometimes it's just click, right? I think we need, because I come from the architect or design perspective. So I'm using Gen of 4 design pattern a lot. That's like a double dispatch visitor pattern. I use it in my Java code, in my Smalltalk, in my C++ code a lot. So I think this must be some pattern, but it's not like a software engineering pattern. It's more like the data model, the pipeline pattern. Right? So this is the first thought, first principle, and they agree. And then in order to manifest how this work, we need to look at the fourth life cycle, right, of how you develop agentic AI applications. You have to start with the model. So how you clean the data, right? How you make sure the data is secure, how you make sure it is scalable, then to the model, how make sure in the training you have a good design pattern, so it has a good efficiency, right? How do you, in the reasoning time, make some of quantization, kind of for optimization? There's different optimization thing, right? And then from different prompting, the retrieval augmented generation pattern, and then agentic pattern. So that's a closed loop for this one book. And then the idea is the next book is really the security pattern. I don't have time. So maybe sometime later next year.
We'll do
Not
it. We
this
do it
year.
in our next call, Ken. That might be a good topic to dive into that. Well, thank you very much again, Ken, for joining us today. To your point, we'll provide additional infos and links, with the publication of this episode. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, great to talk to you.
Today's podcast is brought to you by AIsberg. In just 5 minutes, AIsberg becomes a guardian agent that oversees all AI traffic, enforces policies, and protects your enterprise from AI breach. Learn more at AIsberg.ai.